In today's lecture, we will see how to transfer control between servlets and web pages. So there are many techniques of transferring control from a web page to a servlet, or a servlet to a web page, or a servlet to another servlet. So these are the techniques that we can use. First is, and the most simplest, is to use the anchor tag, which is this. So basically, the anchor tag just creates a hyperlink from one page to another. Second is using the form tag that we have used in HTML to submit forms. Then we have an object called request dispatcher, which dispatches our request to another page. So there are two objects from which a request dispatcher object can be obtained. One is using the request and one is using the context of the application. And the last way is to use the response. So by using the response.sendRedirect method also, we can send the control from one servlet or one web page to another. So the HTML anchor tag, it is used to define a hyperlink, and this hyperlink it contains the link from one page to another page or another servlet, and when we click on that hyperlink will take us to the new page. So the URL to which we want to go, the destination URL, is described in the href attribute of the a tag. So this is the syntax. So you just have to write a, and in the value for href, you specify the URL pattern of the resource. So in case it is a servlet, then the servlet has a URL pattern which is described in the web.xml file, which is the deployment descriptor, and usually it is the same as the class name. So that is why here we are giving new servlet, which is the URL pattern of some servlet. And if it is an HTML file or if it is a JSP file, then here we will be specifying the complete name of the file with the extension. So here, because we want to specify homepage.html, so we are writing the complete name of the file, which is also the URL pattern of that file. The text which is written inside the a tag, this complete text will become a hyperlink. So if in case you want to create a hyperlink with just a few words or a single word from this text, then only that text has to be placed inside the anchor tag. So for example, if you want home to be a hyperlink, then uh, this home will be inside the anchor tag here, and the anchor tag will close immediately after home. First, to create the login form, we have created a login.html file in the web pages folder of our web application. So this is the blank HTML file, and here we will be creating a form first. So using the form tag, we will be using the post method because we will be posting the username and the password. So that is why we do not want it to be visible in the URL. PWD for password. So this is the login form that we have created with two input boxes and a submit button. Next, we will create the login servlet. So this is the URL that we have passed for the when the login form will be submitted. So we have to create a servlet first. So this is the login servlet.java file which is created. And now what we have to do is we have to read the values of username and password that have been submitted from the login form. For that, we will be using the request.getParameter method, and we will be storing the string username and the string password in variables un and pwd here. Now, assuming that we have some fixed password or a fixed username for the login servlet. So let's say that we have two variables in the login servlet. Private string user, which is RCOEM, and private string password, which is R at 123. So these are the values which should match, and if these values match, then we will be taking some action forward. Now, depending on whether the username and password match the predefined username and password, we will be performing one action, that is, we will display a welcome message to the user. And if the username password does not match, then we will inform the user that the username or the password, one of these does not match, and we will give them a link to go back to the login page. So for that, we will first take a boolean variable here. Let's call it match. So boolean match will be equal to if un So this match variable will be true if username is equal to user and password is exactly equal to the password, and even if one of them is false, then the boolean variable will be false. Now when we are writing the HTML response, we can write the HTML response using an if-else block. So depending on what action we want to take. So like for example, the HTML that will be displayed for the welcome form. So we can say if match, then we will print the title as welcome page, and in case it does not match, if the username and password match, then we will print a message that login is successful and welcome username. Else now here we can give the user a link to go back to the login page, and we can do that using the href. So we can use the HTML anchor tag, which is used to link one page to another page. And here in the value for href, we will be giving the value of login.html, and then we write the text in between this anchor tag. So this text will be a hyperlink. So let's say go back to login page. Now when we run this, so on running the login.html, this is the output of the login form. And here when we enter the username and password, so if we enter some wrong values and click on login, then it will take us to the login servlet. So here in the URL you can see we are on the login servlet, and here the title says try again, and in the content we can see it says sorry, try again and go back to the login page. So this is the code that we had written in the else block in the login servlet. Now when we click on this go back to login page hyperlink, it will take us back to the login.html because we had given the URL of this file login.html in the anchor tag of HTML file which we had written in the login servlet. Now if we enter the correct username and password, so it is again bringing us to login servlet. So in the URL you can see the path login servlet, but this time it is printing the title as welcome page, and in the content it says login is successful and welcome RCON. So this is executed because the match variable, the boolean variable, has turned out to be true.